Welcome everybody to this week's Skore user drop-in, where we're looking at top-level processes in Skore. So, as is usual in these sorts of things, we're going to do a bit of scene setting. We'll look at some examples, get some hands-on with the product, show you how to actually create some of the components in Skore. We'll look at what to do once you've got your top-level process, if you haven't already. So, we're talking about top-level processes today. Come down into here. What do we mean by a top-level process? Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say and give you a definitive answer to that, because it does mean different things to different people. I put that top one there, so I said it's a conceptual visualization showing how pieces of an organisation work together. That was my my stab at putting my years of experience as to what a top level was. I asked Colin, I asked Craig. But Craig put it much more elegantly than I. He said it's your business on a page. I really like that. Yeah, and I think that's probably, if you ask me that question again, that's the answer I will give. What is the problem they solve? Because again, why would you want the top level unless it's going to solve some sort of problem? And again, no definitive answer here, but it's about trying to make sense of that complexity and trying to step back from a situation, or trying to step back from a level. So it's hard for people to work out, because people are focused on their roles, their departments, their service line, or whatever their area of the business, and being able to stitch that together in a way which helps them understand what the totality of your business looks like and where they fit in. That's what we're looking at. Yeah, and that scope might be the top level of the business, or it might be the top level of their department. Again, so it's about defining what do we mean by a scope, and then helping someone get that on a page in a way which they can understand. Experience, companies are very good at documenting the how. People are very good at documenting how they operate. The lower level activities, the lower level processes, but not the why. And I see a good top level is giving you a bit of a why. Why do we exist? Why do we do these big buckets of information? And it's quite an old saying, how do we link strategy to reality? If you haven't got a top level, which I would argue is part of your strategy, how do you link that down into what you actually do? How you actually do it. Recording, but who do you think top level processes are for? In my mind, it's for everyone. Right. Hamza said about the shareholder, or it's the higher up people. You'd be amazed, that actually putting together a top level for some big businesses as we have, it's not as agreed as you would hope it would be at that level. So a lot of value would be got at that top level of the board. The board, the department heads, the director of business. They'll get just as much value out of it, I assure you, than people coming in fresh, lower down in the business to see what their cost is. So it's for everyone. We'll look at some of the intricacies as we go through, and again, you're always mapping and creating content for a particular why, but they should be aimed at everyone.
I think everyone is value of seeing nice looking content, as you will show us.
Exactly. Well, let's look at some examples, which hopefully I'll show you something you might not have seen before. And again, we haven't got time to go into every intricacy on every variation, but I tried to pick out what I've seen over my career, what we see with customers, and we talk about top level, but it's called an awful lot of things, by different people. But so hopefully that will come across here. So. We've got a couple of options here. So a lot of people call it a target operating model, or an operations model, or operational organizational model. Again, lots of buzzwords that get thrown in, but this is quite common. You see what we've got here is some graphical kind of representations. Typically people love chevrons in sort of target operating models, or you've got pillars and boxes and whatever the buckets are that makes sense. And it's not all process. I know we focus on process, but a lot of people put in things like quality, costs, roles, all sorts of things into what they want to have as a top model. Obviously, we are process focused. We do love a process top level, so I wanted to share a good example of one of those. I've got an example student journey. Again, another name for a top level is often called journeys. So we've got an example of student journey. So this is quite typical of what we call a process top level, where it's going from, we've got a portfolio of offerings right through to certificates and engaging. And you also see that often on business on a pages or top levels, we're going to have supporting activities that are not part of that value chain, but it's just as important. Yeah, so you can see it's quite an interesting view there. Often it's called process architecture. We use that term quite a bit. Again, it's just operational processes, support processes. You could have service lines, whatever. It really doesn't matter. But even here, you can see it's using the same UPN methodology. It's got ownership, it's got handovers, it's got drill downs. You use the components in here, so you create that top level process for the assets that you would expect, and on any level of process in this example. Yeah, and this one's even based around using APQC. So you'll notice if you're familiar with the standard, the language is very common, and it just puts it all on a page and then lets you change it, flex it, adapt it. Just to show you another variation of it, so worked with a large company where they're looking at a cloud operations framework, which is quite an interesting example. So we can just show you kind of what happens here. It's breaking it down to all those components where you to run a whole cloud operations framework. It's not the top level of the business as such, but the top level of your IT operations. And you can see it's just breaking it down. It's using color. You've got different boxes, different buckets of information. And you can drill down, and you can put that into, again, you can see here, they're using use cases, patch management, and that will get down to process level. But you can see how it's going from that strategy, here's everything we need to think about, down to how do we actually do it. Quite a cool little example of that. So how do we create them? Well, you might not be surprised to hear, if we're going for that process view, like that custom, that student journey, you can create them in workshops. So a few things to consider if you are looking at creating a top level as a workshop is who do you involve, because by its very nature a top level process is going to be very broad. It's going to cover lots of different specialities. So who from different areas do you engage with, how many people do you include, because again you can get quite a large audience, and the more people you have in a workshop, the harder it can be to manage. So you've got to think carefully about how you go about that. It might be that you just need to pick out some key people, have a stab at it. And then that third point, allowing time to iterate. It can be very conceptual sometimes. So don't set your expectations, set your attendees' expectation that it might take a couple of sessions. You might nail it in half an hour, who knows? But set that expectation that you might want to rework it or get other people involved and iterate it round, rather than just having a 2-hour workshop and you get it all nailed. And with that in mind, we say this against every workshop, set a clear purpose, but even more so here, what is this for? What is why are we mapping this? And try and get people behind that. And the second point here about how to create top level is you can basically copy it. Often we go into organizations, they'll have content already in there. They'll have like a picture I showed you before, they'd have that in a PowerPoint stuck somewhere. You can use it, you could, and I'll show you how you can bring something like that into Skore very easily and get a quick win. The power will be from sharing it, changing it, drilling down, hooking it up. So if something's already in the business that people are familiar with, then use it. It'll give you a quick win, and then you can go on. So that is, you don't have to use Skore. A lot of those examples there I showed you were very much around using other shapes and tools and diagramming tools, and then bringing it into Skore, and work great, embrace it. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a process. So let me show you how you would quickly do that, just to show you some hands-on in the tool and how quick and easy it is to be. One I didn't create earlier, but gives me that playground to do it. So again, you can go into classically PowerPoint. You go in, create that graphical view of the world. And then you can bring it in as an image. So I can just drag in the image object, double click on here, open the media picker. I've already uploaded one, so you can see I was getting ready for this. I've got an example Tom in here, or I can upload a new one there, insert it, away you go. And you can spend time tidying it up, make sure it's all the right ratio. And then it's the so what. Okay, nice picture. It's in Skore. One of the good benefits here you can have is now you can start to link it off to the rest of your library. So the way you do that, if you haven't done that before, I can drag in a note box. I can put it over HR, because that's what I'm going to show you here. It's a quick win. And I can just come in and I can say, right, I want to create a link. So this is the way I do it. Kind of might cringe. But I'm going to say I want to bring it to another process.
There's not a million way to link.
Yeah, exactly. And then quickly, just highlighting text, clicking on that link, and you can see you can link to anything. In this instance, I want to link to my HR top level. I can open it in another tab if I so wish. I can even select within it. I can filter down. I just want to insert that link. Brilliant. Done. Although it doesn't look great. So what we do now is if I go to the edit list box, there's an additional setting here where it says make entire box or make box entirely clickable. Click on that, save, and then that's gone. Yeah. So then I can click S to go to style, or it's up there. Put this to transparent. Hit save there. Away you go. So I've now got a hotspot basically against my graphical representation of my business. If I went to view mode now, so the links don't work in edit mode, otherwise you'd be jumping off while you're trying to edit. I can come in here, I can click on that, and that will take through to my it doesn't at the moment. I've probably done something wrong and probably need to refresh, but that'll take me through to the content. So you can hook it up, yeah, and you can do the same. You can hook it up to reports and within Skore or other systems and the like. But you create that landing page for your business basically. That's the so what, yeah. What now? Yeah, we've now defined our top level process. What do we do with it? Yeah. Unsurprisingly, one of the first things I'm suggesting is share it. Yeah, you socialize it is another word a lot of people use. Get it out to people. And it will do two things. It will educate people. It will inform them. It will also test if you've got it right. Yeah, that's how you get feedback. Yeah, so if people don't understand it or it's confusing, go and fine tune it. And also use it. A lot of our customers, when we onboard them, will go through the exercise of defining their architecture, their top level. And one reason we do that is it's a really good accelerator to define a list of where you need to go and look at, where you need to focus. Yeah, so it gives you those buckets of areas, those almost sort of sub projects of how you're going to fill out that content and use Skore and get the benefits of it. So yeah, use it, make sure it's there, and again, link to it, use it in projects, socialize it, use it on your intranet, all that great stuff. Just go in there. Linking it, you saw me in that brief demo, link it up to anything you can. Yeah, you'll get a lot of power. Most organizations have no shortage of knowledge. It's just they can't find it, yeah, or it's out of date, yeah, or it's not connected, yeah, and this is where it's a really good quick win to do it, and then change it. Yeah, so things change. Typically top level doesn't change too much. I think you'd agree with that, Colin, when you've done that with customers. It's not one of the processes which are going to drastically change all the time. But things do change, yeah. Or feedback comes back.
Iterating. What you want from a landing page is also to respond to a customer demand. If I mean a user basically they want to access quickly some parts, don't hesitate, adding a shortcut or something. Even though if it's not true from the original design, you should also be able to listen to customers and do what they want. What we've done in some organization is also some landing pages leading to other landing pages.
Yeah.
So for example, you have a big landing page with you have like, I don't know, sales, marketing, operations, right? And then when you click on sales, it will go into another landing page, maybe with a similar look and feel, but different colors, so it differentiates. And then it's also a landing page that you can link to different parts. And we did that after the feedback from users. They were saying, okay, all nice to have the main landing page, but I'd like to quickly be able to jump to a specific place.
Which leads me into my kind of remember points, my final thoughts on this before we open up to questions. Is you can have more than one, and I even put why wouldn't you? Yeah, because you've got different audiences looking at different things in the business. You might have a more technical one and then more business or capabilities focused one, or you might have different levels of the top level. So don't limit yourself thinking you've got to have one holy grail version of it. There are plenty of reasons why you might have more than one, and again, keep those links up. The second point there is you don't have to show everything. My initial definition, this is why it's a conceptual. It's a bit like the London Tube map. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. You want to show enough information that helps you convey what it is you're trying to convey in that message. So, where I've seen it fail is where people try and put anything and everything and try and hook it all up. In fact, you can have some really good discussions, especially if you look at the process ones, of what boxes deserve to be at that top level and which ones don't. And that might be a reason why a top level changes, where different things become more in focus for a business, and you might actually change it around so it's there at the top level again. So that's quite interesting. And the third point, they will change as we had that discussion. So adapt it. Have an owner. Have reviews. listen to the feedback, be it through the system's comments or otherwise. You can click new and go to new process from template library. That will take you there. I think we've got some examples of some top levels in there, which you can then duplicate into your workspace. So that's everything I wanted to go through today on top level. So, okay, well, thanks everyone. Have a good rest of the day.